Why, yes, I am aware that my background is my room. It's a disaster. That's exactly what I want to fix today. I moved here July 14th. It is now November 15th. I think it's high time that I do something to my room. I will show you around. It is very plain, white walls. That's what I'm listening to right now. And yeah, I need to do something because, as you just saw, is very stark white and I got nothing. The only thing I have on my wall is, I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. The clock. I have the clock. That's it. My bed is not even assembled. I literally just put my mattress on the floor and I plan to keep that way for reasons that I will get into later. Anyways, I just bought a vacuum. It was 33 bucks at Target if you want a cheap vacuum. The only other one I have is that one, and I left it running before I left to the store to buy this, but of course it got stuck on my chair. Yes, that is a box that I have not unpacked since July. Don't judge me. This is a safe space. I'm gonna, I guess, open this and put it together real quick. Start doing something in here. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. But we're gonna figure that out. There is my cat trying to tumble my hamper, which is very full because I just unpacked. I got back 2 weeks ago maybe from my Boston trip and I hadn't unpacked yet. This channel is called Procrastinator's Progress, so, but yeah, let's get started.
Back to my bed not being assembled. I moved into this townhome with the intention of staying only 1 year. It was always meant to be short term. I already had plans to move to a new city when my lease ended at my previous place, but some unexpected changes at home made me feel like I had no choice but to stay. And since I was fed up with the apartments I was living at, I just decided to find somewhere closer to my job. And I wasn't even that far to begin with, less than 20 minutes. But that's just how done I am with commuting. Originally, I was looking for a house, but this place popped up when I was searching, literally a 4-minute walk to my job. And even though there were several things I didn't love about it, first of all, the fact that it was a townhome instead of a standalone house, the commute, or lack thereof rather, made those things feel worth it for me. I figured I could deal with them for a year. But since that was a plan, I didn't really see the point of assembling my bed frame, and that is why it's still sitting in the garage and my mattress is on the floor.
Well, that was a lot simpler than I expected.
I was originally using my actual nightstand as a TV stand, so I decided to bring this little stand in, and while it worked, I did eventually decide on reclaiming my nightstand as an actual nightstand and paid a TaskRabbit to hang my TV up on the wall, and my goodness, has that been worth it. I do consider myself a minimalist at heart, believe it or not, but my problem is that if I see a flat surface, I will use it as storage. And so removing one flat surface was an easy way for me to preemptively remove clutter. Can anyone else relate to this, or is that just me? All right, here is where I start working on what I think is the pièce de résistance of the room, and that is the door frame. Now, remember, one of my main concerns in the bedroom was a lack of color, and the thought of painting even just one wall completely overwhelmed me, knowing that I have no intention of renewing the lease. So while I was thinking about what to do, I remembered an image I had saved in Pinterest a long time ago that I absolutely adored.
Absolutely adore.
And I decided that's exactly what I do. So here I am starting to prep the frame, sanding, cleaning, taping it off, and finally painting it. Look at that, just gorgeous. I loved it. I tried matching the color exactly, and I think the one in the image is slightly richer, but honestly, I loved this color and even loved the name. And yes, that is me using a straw to mix it. I forgot to ask them for a stirring stick. And here is me immediately dropping paint on the floor.
We can start Story time.
Here is where things get interesting. 2 weeks after I returned to work from summer break last year, I was informed that my teaching position was cut effective immediately. I was no longer employed at the very school that was the main reason I signed this lease. I was reallocated to a school closer to where I used to live. My commute went from a 4-minute walk to a 40-minute drive, so twice the time it took before I moved, which is what I was trying to lower in the first place. Yeah, I definitely had the rug pulled out from under me. It has been a cruel irony, the experience of having to live somewhere with so many things I don't like, when the one thing that made it worth it no longer exists. And there was a moment where I'd basically talked myself into renewing here, just like I had before. Life had happened again, and I was feeling some external pressure to stay. But with each day that passed, I felt like I was making the wrong choice. And at that point, I just thought life is always going to happen. A big change is never going to be easy. I need to stick with what I originally said. So I've since decided that I'm definitely not renewing. I only have a few months left here, so I really questioned whether it was even worth tackling my bedroom at all. But in the end, it just felt like too much of a plain white box for me not to do anything.
So I just decided on some simple changes using what I already had and a few fresh pieces to bring in some color and personality to the space, because I would just sit here and kind of feel like I was in some sterile hospital waiting room. So that's what you're gonna see today, me making this space actually feel like mine, even if only for a short while. So I hope you stick around.
The first battle scars right here, you see? This is why I have this shirt and this is why I keep it.
So this is when I started doing the second coat of paint. I originally meant to do 3 coats because there are actually still some white spots on the door, and I actually ended up just leaving it that way because I never went to buy the correct brush to get to those spots, and I'm just choosing to ignore them. I've been using this ring light for years now as my bedroom lamp, and it finally gave out as I was painting, so it's out. And now we can finally get to the fun stuff. Here's me opening the package with yet another makeshift tool, a pen. I've been wanting this calendar actually for years now, and they finally changed the art on there. It used to look a little bit different, and I'm kind of sad because I liked the previous one better, and it just took me so long to get it, but I just think it is so cute. And yet another makeshift tool here, the little paint bottle as a hammer.
So I finally finished the room after months of just leaving it blank, doing nothing in here. Slowly I started, adding little things here and there, and I finally feel like it's at the point where it's finished. So I want to show you around. So we can start in this corner. This is probably the least aesthetic place in the room, and that is because my nightstand is very utilitarian for me. I don't actually keep like pretty things on my nightstand per se, just the things that I use, and I'm a total grandma already. So I have my pills that I take and stuff essentially just that I use. And even though I might not use it every single night, for example, my Asper cream, I don't use that every day. But I like to keep these things here because if they're not here, I actually forget about them. And then when I do need them, I will suffer through whatever because I don't realize that I have the thing. So I just started leaving my stuff here. I do have something cute that I do love is my Kindle, which I never would have bought, but my daughter got this for me for Christmas. So I tend to leave it here so I can always just grab it when I'm in my room. Unless I'm like out and about, then I usually take it with me. And this is actually my daughter's Kindle. It was gifted to her, but I have stolen it essentially. I started playing Animal Crossing, so I became obsessed, and I've just kind of been keeping it here, you know? If you're a mom, you'd get it. She's 19, by the way. I'm not stealing it from like my 8-year-old. This lamp, actually both of these lamps, I didn't buy for my bedroom. They were from my classroom from back when I was teaching. And I wanted to get, I had been using a ring light in this room, or in my bedroom for years actually, just because I loved how bright it was. So when I was trying to figure out how to replace the ring light, I really wanted something that was still dimmable because I got used to that. It's just so nice to be able to dim your lights. And after looking for a bit, I actually did buy one, but it turns out the description said it was dimmable, but it actually just had 3 different settings. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted a true dimmer. So I ended up just I returned the one that I bought, and I ended up keeping, because I have like 4 of these in my garage. Again, it was from my classroom, and so I just bought some IKEA light bulbs that actually are dimmable. And it was also important for me to not be tied to like my phone to dim it, because I find that kind of annoying to have to get my phone just to dim my lights. So I ended up getting this one, and I'll tell you the name later, which works with this little remote from IKEA so that I can actually dim my lights, and it also changes like the temperature of the light. Let's see if I can get it to work. There we go. So it has 3 different light temperatures. We're gonna leave it like that. And they do have the light bulb that has like, it's a multicolor one, and that one sounded kind of nice, but it's less bright than this one. And my priority was to have as much light in here as possible, because if you look this way, you can see I have a window, but it's full of trees out there, so it blocks a lot of the light that would otherwise come into this room. At night, usually I turn this one off, and then I'll leave this one on while I'm like winding down. And then it's nice to just be able to reach over and turn this one off, even though honestly with this one it wouldn't matter since it has a button. But before I had this, I used to have to reach over to turn off the ring light. And this wasn't the original plant that I planned on hanging up here. I had a beautiful pot. I still have it, but I kind of neglected it for a while. So it went from looking very luscious to looking naked. And I started to propagate it, but by the time it actually gets roots and looks pretty, it's gonna be a while. I probably won't even be here anymore. So I decided to put my Chinese money plant up here. And I wasn't sure how it would look, but I actually really like it. This plant does make me laugh though, because every time I look at it, It makes me think of the character from Zootopia. Yes, the chief or something. I feel like the big stems look like his horns. So every time I look at the plant, that's what I think of. But I do think that both of the plants actually make a big difference in here. I think plants in general, they just literally do bring life into a room. So I think they have been great additions to the space. So yeah, that is my nightstand. As you can see, it's kind of sloppy. I've had this nightstand for like going on 15 years, something like that. And I dropped acetone on it several years ago, and I had, you know, the little nail polish bottles on here and other things, and then I've gotten some rings since then, so I should probably refinish that, but I haven't ever actually done that, so I've been kind of afraid to do it. And so now for my bed, I have had a white comforter for years now because I was watching one of those decorating shows like years ago. I'm talking like maybe like 10 years. And the person said, always go for white because it gives a hotel feel. And I liked that. So ever since then, I always used white. And I guess I kind of am past that. In the before video, you did see that I had a blue one, but that one doesn't count because I didn't buy it. I was given that one. So I went with this one because I was looking for a material that would keep me cool. I bought this mattress a couple years ago and it's actually really hot. It's a Nectar mattress and I am a very hot sleeper and the mattress gets really hot. So if you're a hot sleeper, I don't recommend Nectar. I also have a topper on it, but when I was looking for a comforter, I specifically wanted to find something that would kind of keep me cool. And so far I have actually liked this one. It's made out of Tencel, I believe is how you pronounce it. That's the name of the material, and it's made out of eucalyptus from my understanding. Bought those huge pillows in the back. I never would have bought those, but my daughter, they're from Target, and she really wanted some for her birthday like 2 or 3 years ago. So I got them for her and I love them. They're just so big and fluffy. So I went and I bought myself some. Honestly, I don't really feel like white was the best color considering I don't have a headboard, so it just blends in with the wall. And that is actually why I decided to put up that up there. Let's call it a tapestry for now. And I'll explain. Some of you, I'm sure, will notice immediately what it is. And that is Cheshire. He was also stolen from my daughter. Well, and that I actually did take from her. And I sleep with Cheshire every night. He's just the perfect shape for a neck pillow. But he's pretty bratty. I've used him for a long time. And this is my little cake pillow, supposedly, is what it is. My daughter got it for me. We went for our birthdays. My daughter and I are 2 days apart. So we went for our birthdays a few years ago to a outdoor market type thing, and we both thought this was really cute. We didn't know what it was, we just thought it was cute, and the lady who made it said it was a cake. So my daughter got it for me for my birthday. So back to this. Initially I had planned to put a puzzle here that I bought in Boston, and it seems to be a fairly large puzzle. However, because I knew I wasn't going to be here for that long, I didn't want to actually go through the trouble of putting the puzzle together and gluing it and putting it up when I'm actually leaving pretty soon. But it just looks so white, especially like I said with these pillows. And I was just trying to think about what I could put on my wall that I already owned that would be easy, that would break up all of this white, and that would potentially look nice. And my mind just kept going to this pink scarf. So I was like, let me try it out, and I think it works. Would I do it if I had something else, like in place of the puzzle, let's say, if I knew I was going to stay here long enough? Probably not, but I think it does the job for now. So this is my little desk corner. This is where I sometimes will sit and do work. And I was noticing that at first I really didn't want to sit here and do any work. And that's because I really wished that I had the space. I mean, this room is pretty big, but I didn't really feel like it made sense for me to put a desk right in front of the windows. At first, I just didn't really like to sit here and work because I'm just looking at, or I was back then, just looking at white walls. It made it kind of hard for me. I mean, I could just look out and see the trees and the traffic. I finally decided to put some art pieces that I have. These are actually some of my favorite art pieces. This one I got when I was working my first job out of college, and it just really captured exactly how I was feeling at the time. I worked in a cubicle and I wasn't really enjoying the job. I didn't feel like I was doing much. So I really felt that this image kind of captured that, and it kind of motivated me to look for something different that I did like. That's that one. And then this one also from the same artist, you could probably tell. This one's just kind of motivation to always be working towards a goal. And then these two I got, I believe it's called Andersonville Galleria in Chicago, and I just absolutely fell in love with these two. These are two of my favorite shows, Bob's Burgers, and Tina she's my girl. I love her. And then also Mr. Kim from Kim's Convenience. I think these two are adorable. So I made a nice little, I guess, gallery wall, we can call it, just with my calendar. And this is a pretty cool little picture that I took with my daughter on our first trip to Boston. There was this guy at Boston Common, I hope is the correct name of the park, just shooting pictures for donations. We thought that was pretty cool, so we took a couple. I like to keep my computer here just because I really like my case. I just think it looks so pretty and it goes with everything. This is a little print that my mother got me from one of her trips to El Salvador, which is where my family's from. This little plant, I feel like it just adds a little bit of life. I like the way it looks. And this is just a little canvas that one of my former students painted for me, and my planner. So moving on, here I have the kitty cat toys. I know it looks cluttered, but I can't bring myself to get rid of the box because my cat loves it. This is my grand cat. This is not my cat. This is Mochi. Hi, Mochi. Hi, boy. This is my daughter's cat. He's a bad boy. So about my windows. Originally, I was planning on putting curtains up, but when I found my actual curtain rod, it didn't extend fully. I think it stopped like maybe like around right here. And again, because I knew I wasn't going to be staying here long, I didn't want to bother buying another curtain rod, especially since I don't know where I'm going to be at next. So I decided to just leave it this way. Sometimes I will put blankets, like light blankets, right here. I'll just kind of stuff them in here so it blocks the light out. But I don't do that often. It's kind of a headache to do. But if I go to bed really late and I want to make sure that I sleep well, I will do that. I tend to leave my blinds open during the day. I just like for as much light to come in as possible. But you'll obviously notice that only one of them is open, and that is because this one, I guess, broke. These are the blinds that were here, and the landlord did tell me that he would replace them. He told me to just email him, and I just never got back to him. The previous tenants apparently were the one, they taped this one broken slat, and I've just left it like this. It's fine, I guess. And have my mirror angled in the corner. I like to keep it that way because I feel like it kind of makes the room feel bigger. So when I'm standing on the other side of the room, it just feels bigger. Originally, I had planned to hang it on this wall, but I ended up just liking it. Ideally, if I were staying here, I probably would have hired someone to hang it. And the reason I say hang it is because my ceilings are vaulted. I guess that's the right term. So originally, I had my TV on what is my nightstand, and I had this little table as my nightstand. But because I have so much stuff on the nightstand, I decided to reclaim the nightstand. And I hadn't originally planned to have my TV on the wall, but my daughter ended up getting a TV in her room. She didn't have one before, and because her room is pretty small, she didn't want to get a stand. It was going to take up a lot of room. It was going to leave her with only a little bit of room like to maneuver through. So I got it hung for her, and I really liked how it looked, so I decided to do it for mine too. And it was just the TV on the wall. I didn't have these two flags on there, and it looks so empty. So I decided to put these flags that I got from Boston up there, and I think they look really nice. I was going to get rid of the little table, but then I felt like it was gonna feel maybe too empty right here, so I decided to just keep it, swearing an oath that I will keep it like this. That I will not start using it to collect clutter. But I think it actually looks really nice. These flowers I got like a day ago, and they look like they're dying already, but I love tulips. They've always been one of my favorite flowers. And then I have this fun little candle that I totally stand behind. And I have it set on my little tarot cards that I got from my trip to Salem, just to kind of elevate it a little bit. And I leave the puzzle here. This is the puzzle I originally planned to put above my bed. I just think it's so pretty, and I actually enjoy looking at it just sitting here. So I've decided to just leave it here, and I think it goes nice with these particular flowers. So yeah, I like this little setup. So one of my favorite things in this room is my little wax warmer. I actually never would have bought this, but I was on a trip to Dallas with my daughter, and we stopped by Buc-ee's, and she actually was the one to find it. This is usually like her type of thing, not really mine. And I saw it, and I immediately fell in love. So I have like a thing with cherries. There's this, you saw my planner, my earrings. I don't know if you can see them. My earrings. I've had my nails done with cherries. I just really like cherries, and they seem to be like trending right now. You find cherry stuff everywhere, and it was only $12. It was so cute. And originally I wasn't gonna get it because, like I said, usually this would not be my thing, but I just thought it was so adorable. So I actually went back and I got it. But I think it's so cute, and I can actually immediately smell the wax when I come in here, so that's cool. Last but not least, my favorite part of the bedroom, the door frame. I think it looks so pretty, and I like how it kind of ties all of the little pops of pink in here together. Never would I have imagined that I would be a pink girl, but I've come to really appreciate it now that I'm older. So that is my minimal bedroom setup for my short-term living arrangement. Again, had I planned on staying here long-term, there are other things I probably would have done. That would be a puzzle, not a scarf. At the entrance of the room, that is the main door. Right here, my original plan was to put a print that I found on Etsy that I think is really cute, and eventually maybe I will get it for my next place, but I just decided there was no point to doing that. Again, I would have definitely put up some curtains. Probably would have actually gotten a lamp that I particularly like. This one was like 10 bucks at Walmart, I think. And it's really nothing special, it's just a lamp to me. But it works for the time being. So let me know what you think.
Look at him. Look at him. He's being a bad boy. Bad boy. Bad boy. Hey, stop it.